Welcome to Malifaux University. 307. Activation phase, passing, selecting a model, and start of activation effects. The activation phase is the longest part of each turn. Both players alternate being the active player, which means they take turns activating a model. The player with initiative is the active player first, and when there are no models left to activate on either side, the turn goes into the end phase. When you're the active player and you have a pass token, you have the option of discarding a pass token and simply being done. You don't activate a model or do anything else. The other player becomes the active player. You can do this as often as you have pass tokens to help balance out gameplay and keep your opponent from activating several models back to back once you run out of models. Check out video 203 for detailed examples of using pass tokens. If you don't have a pass token, or if you don't want to use it, then you select one of your models to activate. Since no model may activate more than once in a turn, usually, you must select a model that is not already activated. If all your models have activated and your opponent still has models that have not, your opponent gets to basically go over and over until she's done. Keep in mind that if you have a model that is buried, which is to say it's in the game but not on the playing area, that model gets to activate too. It just doesn't take any actions unless it has actions or abilities that specifically say they can be used while buried. How to handle buried models and how to unbury them is the topic of video 403. I'll take a brief moment now to thank all those who were patrons at the time this video was made, especially Griff, Sergey, Tom, Alan, Jeremy, Mikolai, and Travis, and many more at the free student tier. Your support is essential to bringing these videos to life. When you activate a model, the first thing you do is resolve any effects or abilities that say, at the start of this model's activation, or when this model activates. There are two ways of saying the same thing. If your model has more than one effect like this to resolve, you get to choose the order in which you resolve them. One common ability in this category is Regeneration. It will always have a number after it, like Lord Chompybits. He has the Regeneration +2 ability, so when he activates, he immediately removes 2 damage. If he hasn't suffered any damage, or has previously lost only 1 health, then he just returns to, or stays at, his maximum health, and nothing else happens. He does not get to bank the healing effect of regeneration for later. With its power converter ability, this hunter gets to remove a nearby scrap marker to gain a power token that it can later use like a soulstone to add a suit or a positive modifier to a duel. Naturally, if there is no scrap marker within 3 inches of the hunter when it activates, it cannot use this ability. It also wouldn't matter if the hunter moved within 3 inches of a scrap marker during its activation. This ability happens at the start of this model's activation, which means before it takes any actions. If the hunter is near that scrap marker in the next turn, it can use this ability at the start of that activation. One last example is the Explorers Society Dr. Beebe. His Another Man's Trash ability says that when he activates, he can dig through his discard pile to draw 2 weak cards back into his hand. Naturally, if this brings his control hand beyond 6 cards, he'll have to discard down. You might ask why he would want to draw weak cards into his hand. This is where studying your cards and planning for how your actions and abilities interact can make a huge difference in how you play. If the cards he draws are tomes, he can cheat fate with them and treat them as having a value of 9 due to his Reconfigure ability. He also has a bonus action on the back of his card that lets him summon a model, but he has to discard cards to pay for it. Since abilities can alter gameplay in such significant ways, the next video will discuss the abilities on the fronts of your model's cards. That's the overview of passing, selecting a model, and start of activation effects. Pick up a printable set of all the markers and tokens you need to play Malifaux in the Wargames Vault. If you haven't already, join our Patreon for early, ad-free access to all new content, and be sure to visit the Malifaux University gift shop for the latest in Malifaux-themed shirts, hoodies, drinkware, and more. Links are in the notes below. And remember, play friendly games, keep it simple, and have fun.